Breaking overnight, deputies in Marion County are trying to find a woman they fear may be lost in the Ocala National Forest. Investigators say Theresa Hartley was with a friend when their vehicle became stuck in the area of North Forest Road 88, not far from Lake Delancey. Deputies say she was told to stay with the vehicle while her friend went for help, but when that friend returned, Hartley was gone. Investigators say the 66-year-old may have a mental condition and they're worried about her safety. If you have any information, you're urged to call 911.
Basically, simple terms, there is no honor among thieves. And at some point, these three individuals turned on our three victims and murdered them.
The Marion County Sheriff telling us his department was under an enormous amount of pressure to track down those responsible for last week's triple homicide. The work by detectives resulting in the arrest of two young suspects with another on the run.
We are shocked not only are the victims juveniles, but the murderers are juveniles as well.
It's a murder mystery in Marion County. 59-year-old Timothy Smith was found dead inside a home in Citrus Park along Southeast 40th Street Road last Saturday. Deputies with the Marion County Sheriff's Office were responding to a well-being check. They found Smith's body and will only say he had been violently killed. Detectives say Smith was last seen leaving work 3 days prior.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Lauren.
I am Ken.
And this is Paradise After Dark.
Dark.
Paradise After Dark is a Palmahawk Media production covering true crime,
Unsolved mysteries,
missing people,
urban legends,
and strange places. If you'd like to support our show and get extra Paradise After Dark content, along with early and ad-free episodes for all of our Palmahawk Media shows, please sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/Palmahawk Media. That's PALMAHAWK Media.
And be sure to check out our website, paradiseafterdark.com.
On the website, you'll find links to all of our episodes, even the archived episodes, our mailing list, merch store, links to our social medias, and of course, our Patreon.
We also have a little tip jar there on our website, so if you want to swing in and drop a couple coins in the jar, we'll be happy to give you a shout out on the show.
And we once again would like to remind you that Jay and I will be at CrimeCon UK in June of this year. You can get your ticket at crimecon.co.uk. Use code PARADISE for 10% off your ticket. And Ken and I will be at CrimeCon in Orlando in September.
Woohoo!
Again, get your ticket at crimecon.com and use code PARADISE for 10% off.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I'm like stoked. I'm saddened though because it's in September, but it's like because it's so far away, I just want to get there.
I know.
So it's always a good time. It's a great time. Meet some great people. I mean, if you've been listening to the show, you've heard our trips to CrimeCon. We come back. It's always a great time. There's always so much to do and so many things to see, and everyone is so easy to get along with and talk to.
And I'm super excited because we are a Florida podcast, and it's in Florida this year. It's in Orlando.
Exactly. We're not out in the desert of Vegas.
Yes. Just go to CrimeCon's website, check it out, and make sure to quote Paradise for your 10% off discount.
Okay, so Lauren, speaking of being a Florida-based podcast, we actually are coming back to Florida.
Yes, and the first story in our episode tonight is being done in conjunction with an awareness campaign for missing Theresa Hartley that we are working on for our new nonprofit organization, the Florida Themis Project. If you'd like to see how you can help, please check us out at floridathemisproject.org. That's FLORIDATHEMIS project.org. And the link will be in the show notes.
Yeah, you also have a great Facebook page, so people can start to interact a little bit there, too.
Yes, it's a new project. We're just getting up and running, and we're hoping to help a lot of people.
Yeah, it's got diapers right now, but we're looking to grow.
All right, so we are actually going to be talking about Marion County, Florida, because there is a lot of stuff going on right now in Marion County, Florida.
Yeah, Marion County is located in the northern central part of Florida. And according to the 2020 census, the population of Marion County was at 375,908. And the county seat is a town called Ocala. And I'm pretty sure that our Paradise After Dark listeners have heard of that town before.
Yes, this county includes part of the Ocala National Forest, which extends into 3 other counties, and this week's case is going to include the Ocala National Forest. The Ocala National Forest is approximately 430,000 acres.
Huge.
That's nearly 500,000 acres. And if you'll remember, Paradise After Dark and special guest Chris Balzano, our favorite folklorist, did an entire episode on the Ocala, as it's called, and the area surrounding the forest, the shadow of the Ocala. Strange place indeed.
Indeed. Well, this week we are discussing some current and pressing crimes that have happened in Marion County in the last month. Is this some kind of weird cluster, or is Marion County always this crazy and dangerous? I mean, you can decide after we're done telling you what's been going on.
So first up, and possibly the most pressing issue right now, there is a woman missing in the Ocala National Forest under what we might call suspicious circumstances. Theresa Hartley, 66, of St. Augustine, Florida, was last seen on the afternoon of March 11th, 2023. She was seen by her roommate getting into a white Dodge Ram pickup truck with a trailer attached to it, driven by a man named Sidney Branson. Theresa didn't bring her purse, cell phone, or keys with her. She was due back that evening to meet up with a friend at her home. They had plans to bake a cake for a friend's surprise birthday party that was happening the next day. She did not arrive home and didn't make it to the surprise party the following day, which was very out of character. A missing persons report was made by a longtime friend of Theresa's, Robert Markwell, Wednesday, March 15th. I grew up around her and her husband since the 70s, Robert told Dateline, adding that Theresa's husband died in 2016. She had no children. According to Robert, Theresa is very meek, sweet, and very, very soft-spoken. Now, Theresa's niece, Kara Hartley, said, "She's a funny, kind, and sweet person. She's always looking out for people." Robert Markwell told Dateline that he spoke with Theresa every day and was even helping her remodel her home. He said that he last spoke to his friend on Friday, March 10th. He and his girlfriend Robin were there at Theresa's house earlier in the day. They went to Theresa's house and continued working. Theresa and my girlfriend spent some time at the table going over paperwork. See, in recent months, Theresa had been suffering from some memory loss problems. So Robert and Robin had been helping her out with that stuff too. She wasn't paying her electric bill, her water bill, so I guess Robin just kind of took over, Robert said.
Well, it would make sense if he's trying to be helpful.
Yes.
So we think at this point. Well, the next day, on Saturday, March 11th, Robert said he went back over to Theresa's house, but she was nowhere to be found. Now, her roommate told him that Theresa left with a friend and had said they were going to stop by Robert's house later that day, but they never showed up. Now, he tried calling, but her cell phone went straight to voicemail. Now, Robert also tried calling Sidney Branson. This is the man that Theresa was with that day, but said the man hung up on him. So he answered and then hangs up.
So first of all, there's a lot of misinformation going around and even being reported by the media. And I have been in contact with the family and will be clarifying the truth from the misinformation throughout this episode. First of all, many outlets are reporting that Theresa vanished on March 10th. This is not true. According to her niece, Kara Hartley, Theresa was seen on camera at a Dollar General in St. Augustine on the morning of March 11th and left with Sidney Branson on that afternoon, March 11th, not the 10th. Theresa's missing person report stated that Theresa and Sidney went to collect some firewood for a cookout or bonfire. It goes on to say that the two drove to Lake Delancey at the Ocala National Forest, about an hour away from St. Augustine, and began collecting firewood and placing it into the truck when the vehicle got stuck. According to the report, Branson said that he and Theresa left the wooded area on foot to go get help. After an unspecified period of time, he told Theresa to turn around and go back and wait at the truck until he returned with help. This would have been very, very late Saturday night or early Sunday morning, according to Branson, and it was obviously very dark out there.
Extremely dark.
The report also said that Branson was unclear as to why he didn't immediately call for help when the two first started walking, but told police at the time that they were under the influence of both drugs and alcohol.
Theresa Hartley told Action News Jax, even if it does come out that she was using drugs or under the influence, I don't think that would be, I just can't see being messed up enough to leave somebody in the woods. And it should be noted that Kara told reporters that she's never known her aunt to do hard drugs and said she didn't drink that much. Now, Branson told authorities he continued walking and then placed a call to his sister to come pick him up, which she did. He told authorities that when he and his sister returned to the vehicle near North Forest Road 88, Theresa was nowhere to be found. It is possible that she has a mental condition and may have become lost in the woods, the Marion County Sheriff's Office said in a statement. Law enforcement is concerned for her safety at this time, the statement added.
So I feel like it's important to mention a few things here. First of all, Branson stated that they were looking for firewood for a bonfire party, but authorities have found no one to confirm that Theresa or anyone in her circle was planning a bonfire party. So why were they an hour away collecting firewood? Why the need to go deep into the Ocala? You can buy firewood at Publix and save yourself a ton of time and gas. It just seems off to me personally. And when Branson supposedly told Theresa to go back to the truck, he did not give her the keys to the truck. So even if she made it back to the truck, she would have been locked out. He claimed he walked 18 hours before getting out of the forest. And he first called his wife, which was a violation of a restraining order, and we'll get into that shortly. But he asked his wife to call his sister Pam and tell her to come pick him up. Pam apparently lives 10 minutes from the Ocala. So he and Pam drove back into the woods and couldn't find the truck, so they gave up and went back to Pam's house. It's been reported that the truck was found 2 days later, which would have been Monday or Tuesday by some ATV riders, but according to Kara, it was actually found by the U.S. Forest Service. See what I mean? There's a lot of misinformation going on. So Kara told me that Sidney Branson returned to his truck on the 13th, which would have been Monday. So this timeline is like not adding up.
Not
at all.
No. Well, Sidney Branson did not contact authorities when he realized Theresa was missing. So that to me is a problem.
Yes.
You go there with somebody and then you return to the truck and she's not there. So you walk 18 hours to get out of the woods and you don't report her missing. No,
yes.
he didn't even tell his sister Pam who picked him up. And as we mentioned, she was not reported missing until March 15th by her good friend Robert Markwell. Now, Branson actually didn't say anything about Theresa until interviewed by the police. Also, the pictures of his truck after it was found, it does show evidence of an effort to get his large Dodge dually pickup truck out of the sugar sand road it was in, but not anything that would be considered firewood that was supposedly collected.
Right.
It was just full of junk.
Yes.
I mean, you can see where there was a board that was put in the front where he tried to winch himself out. Like if there was a chair that was there in front of it, which I would lead me to believe that maybe Theresa was sitting in the chair watching all of this transpire. I don't know. There were some really extremely long logs, what looked like things that you would try to use to get yourself unstuck if you were stuck. But nothing like firewood. If they were collecting firewood, like he said, there's no evidence of that in the truck. And we have pictures of the truck to prove that. So let's take a quick break, and we'll come right back with some more.
So as mentioned before, Sidney Branson violated a restraining order when he called his wife. Here's the lowdown on that. According to the St. Johns County Clerk of Court records, Sidney Branson was arrested on March 1st of 2023 for domestic violence battery. He pled no contest to this charge on March 9th and was sentenced to 364 days of probation and substance abuse evaluation. His wife was granted a restraining order against him, so when he contacted her when he got out of the forest, he violated that. This is not Sidney Branson's only brush with the law. Just in St. Johns County, I found his criminal record dating back to 1981 when he was first charged with arson. But this crime, he was found guilty and sentenced to a year in jail plus 5 years probation. In 1987, he was charged and convicted of aggravated battery. 1988, he was charged and convicted of burglary. 89, aggravated assault. 94, burglary. 98, unlawful burning of land. The year 2000, he was charged and convicted of battery. In 2005, he was charged and convicted of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. And the most recent charge and conviction we just mentioned in March of 2023. Now keep in mind, this is only in St. Johns County, and I have only mentioned the violent crimes that this man has committed. There's a lot more. You can look it up if you want to. It's all public record at the St. Johns County Clerk of Court's website.
Yes, and mentioning all of that, just understand we're not pointing fingers at this man at all, but all we got to say is police really need to look hard at the situation. Obviously, just because he's done those doesn't mean that he's done anything to Theresa. But remember, his story is the only one we really have to go by.
And his story is not adding up.
Exactly. But I'm saying we're not pointing fingers.
No, I'm not
We're providing
pointing a
information.
finger.
We're providing information. So, okay, let's get back to Theresa. So far, a lot has been done to find Theresa. The Marion County Sheriff's Office and several search teams have been scouring the Ocala National Forest looking for Theresa. And Dateline spoke with Withlacoochee Regional Search and Rescue Chief Samuel Matichek. He said that his organization has had their horse and canine units out looking for Theresa in the forest. The search and rescue chief said that so far, they have located 2 blue metal chairs that belong to Theresa and several cigarette butts near the area of the forest where she was last seen, or reportedly last seen. Now on Saturday, April 8th, a regional search and rescue group, as well as strangers, searched the area for Theresa. So they've had help. There's some assistance, and it's, I guess from what I've read and seen, it's been a pretty successful search as far as getting people together in the area that they've searched. Obviously, they don't have the result they're looking for, though.
In my most recent conversation with Kara Hartley, I was informed that the 421 Canine Search and Rescue Group has actually taken over the search efforts and will be coordinating all future searches for Theresa. Their contact info will be in the show notes, along with all of the contacts we mentioned in this episode. Deputies say there was a reported sighting of someone matching Theresa's description on the Putnam County side of the Ocala National Forest, but a post in the Find Theresa Hartley Facebook group claims that that sighting was not Theresa. Theresa is 5'8" tall. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. According to Kara, she's around 160 pounds and was last seen wearing blue tennis shoes and a dark shirt. She was last seen in the area of North Forest Road 88. This location is about 1 mile south of North Forest Road 66 in the Ocala National Forest by Lake Delancey. Anyone with information about Theresa's whereabouts is asked to call the Marion County Sheriff's Office at 352-368-3508.
We can only hope that she's ended up somewhere, like maybe with a temporary memory lapse, where she doesn't know who she is or where she's at. So, keep a good thought and, encourage the search. And obviously, we'll obviously keep you posted the best we can. So let's talk about the next story of Marion County that's happened within the last month. 59-year-old Timothy Smith of Citrus Park, Florida, was found dead in his home on Saturday, March 25th of 2023. That's like a few weeks ago.
Right.
Things are a little close together. A detective said Smith was last seen Thursday, March 23rd, as he was leaving work. Now, deputies with the Marion County Sheriff's Office responded to a well-being check when they found his body. Now, Tim had not shown up for work Friday, which prompted the call for police to go check on him. And deputies said that he had suffered a violent attack.
Now, by all accounts, Tim was a wonderful, loving, and giving person, with most of his loved ones citing his kindness as his best quality. If you're having a bad day or something like that, he sometimes kind of knows this, and you get an amazing text from him. He'll just let you know, hey, I was just thinking about you, and I wanted to let you know you are loved today. Diane Thompson, Tim's co-worker, told ABC 20 News. According to his obituary, Tim was the executive director of the Brookdale-Chambro Pinecrest Assisted Living and Memory Care Community for over 8 years. He spent his professional life helping seniors and so many others through his servant leadership and inspired spirit. He held a Master's of Business Administration from Nova Southeastern University, a master's degree in social work from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, and a bachelor's degree in religious education from the University of Mobile in Alabama. He thrived with self-improvement. His commitment and love to help others was evident in his personal and professional life. Tim served as CEP ambassador, greeting and mentoring new and existing businesses who called Marion County home. He also served as past executive chair for the Ocala Walk to End Alzheimer's, past president and board member of the Marion County Continuity of Care, and was involved with many other community organizations. Tim was instrumental in raising both money and awareness for great causes, which included the annual Festival of Trees hosted by Brookdale-Chambro each Christmas, supporting local charities. He also performed as drag queen Augusta Wind and was said to be wildly entertaining. Who would want to murder this man?
Exactly. I mean, it just seems like some guy that's really a go-getter that's done nothing but be part of a community and try to help others that wanted to sort of be within the community and grow.
Right.
It's just a sad situation. Well, Tim was born August 1st of 1963. He was a fifth-generation Floridian and grew up on his family's farm just west of Gainesville in Dixie County near the Suwannee River. So he's bred Southern. I like this guy already. Now, before moving to Ocala, Tim and his husband Herb lived in the villages where he had served as director of operations for Villages Rehab in Lady Lake and was highly respected in the senior care community. Now, Tim's cause of death was not released by detectives, but they believe that Tim must have known his killer. And the detectives are trying to determine his last known whereabouts and who he associated with before his death, and obviously a motive for the killing.
My detectives have been working around the clock to investigate this brutal murder, and what we have learned so far now leads us to believe that it was committed by somebody who the victim knew, said Sheriff Billy Woods. Somebody out there knows something. No piece of evidence or bit of information is insignificant. If you know something that may help advance this investigation, please pick up the phone and call us.
Well, Lauren, this begs the question because, as we always say, it's got to be the husband.
Right.
So
that actually went through my head as I was researching this.
And I was unable to find any information about the husband. I mean, were they still married? I wasn't sure if you found this information. I mean, obviously, if he was alive, he'd be an immediate suspect. But since there was no mention that I can find, I can only assume that maybe they were no longer together, or maybe Herb preceded him in death.
Well, this case was brought to me by someone close to the family. And that was one of the very first questions I asked. And I didn't get an answer until just last night before this recording. And I'm told by this source that Tim's husband and daughters stayed in Ocala, and Tim worked during the week in Citrus County and would go home on the weekends. So the husband was exactly where he was supposed to be at the time of the murder. So there's no suspecting the husband did this.
Okay, so obviously police have already gone down that avenue.
Yes.
They've already went through the information, they've collected it, and they vetted him. So obviously now we have his husband and daughter who have just got to be heartbroken.
Right.
Losing someone that's so influential.
Unfortunately, I hate to bring this up, but it does bear mentioning because it is a hot button topic at this moment in Florida. Tim was a drag performer. He actually has a Facebook page. Augusta Wind was his performance name. And he was a gay man, married to a man. And I just hope and pray that this is not some sort of hate crime because of his sexual orientation or his lifestyle. If
anyone has any information about Tim's death, please call Detective Daniel Pinder at 352-368-3508. And if you would like to remain anonymous, you can always contact Crime Stoppers of Marion County at 368-STOP and reference 23-21 in your tip. So, Lauren, let's take a quick break. All right, Lauren, so let's talk about the Marion County Sheriff, Billy Woods.
Okay.
Okay. I've watched some videos and I've seen some of his press releases. And not press release. What do you call it? The group of reporters.
Press conference.
Press conference. That's the conference thing. It was skipping my brain there. So one of the things that I like that he said, he reminds me a lot of Grady Judd, who I love when it comes to going after criminals. He hates criminals in such a way that it's almost, you can feel like he's so energetic about making sure they get caught and punished. And one thing you got to know is this is a huge place. Marion County is, 370-some thousand people we talked about earlier. They have, when it comes to violent crimes, a 59% clearance rate. So if you're in Marion County, a population that large, and you commit a violent crime, there's a 59% chance that you're going to find Billy Woods' foot in your ass. That's what I like. Because I
don't think 59 is a very high percentage rate.
Well, oh my God. I have a full sheet of all of the clearance rates.
Really?
Trust me, unless you're in a little county called Bay County, I think it is. But you look at the population. When he got elected in 2016 and the crime started to decay. And now, obviously, COVID with 2020 in any year.
Let's just not talk about 2020.
Should just be thrown out. Okay, when it comes to statistics, they shouldn't even use that to average anything. But the crime has started to drop, but it's kind of an average. But I think 60% is pretty good when you look at some of the counties in Florida. I'm not even going to tell you what Collier County is. It's like 39%. It's not fantastic for violent crimes. But violent crimes are like armed robbery, rape, it's murder, things like that. So the 59%, I think, is a pretty good testimony for Marion County. And obviously you're in Florida where you've got a lot of travel. So you get people that come here, they could commit crimes, but then they go away. And unfortunately, that's that whole Florida man philosophy where the criminals show up in Florida and everybody, Florida man's a big joke. I think there's some series on Netflix now I got to watch. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, there is.
Haven't seen it yet, so I'm just going to hold off on that.
There's one on Investigation Discovery, too.
Okay, maybe we'll watch the Netflix show and we'll talk about it on our off-topic episode, which you can listen to on Patreon. But so basically what I'm saying is I do like the way that he gets into these press conferences, and Billy Woods is very direct. He pulls no punches, a lot like Grady Judd. And one of the things that he said when he was up in front of all the reporters, they were asking questions, and he says something about, don't ask me this, don't ask me that, and I don't care if you like it. This is my press conference, not yours. And I'm like, I like this guy, because he's like, this is what we're doing. I'm going to answer the questions. And he answered their questions. I think he gave away a lot more in some of these that I was watching than what a lot of other sheriff's offices would have given away. So, but overall, Marion County has a B+ rating when it comes to clearance rate, which I think is pretty good considering some that I've seen throughout the state, which is not good.
Well, meanwhile, over the course of 3 days, 3 teenagers were found dead in and around the quiet village of Ocala, having been shot. 16-year-old Layla Silvernail was first found alive in a dumpster with a bullet wound to the head on March 30th. She was rushed to the hospital where she was declared brain dead and taken off life support.
Now, the following morning, March 31st, a boy who is yet to be named was found lying by the side of the road about a half mile from the area where Layla was found. And on April 1st, a second teenage girl, Camille Quarles, was found in the trunk of Layla Silvernail's car. The car was abandoned and partially submerged in a small pond, this being just 9 miles away from where Layla was found.
So 3 teenagers in 3 days found murdered. They must be connected, right? Especially considering that one victim was found in the trunk of another victim's car.
One can only deduce.
In a press conference held on April 7th, Marion County Sheriff Billy Woods explained that the victims and the alleged killers were all associated in some way with a gang that was involved in a spat of robberies and burglaries. Sheriff Woods says that there is no honor among thieves, and at some point, these individuals turned on their 3 victims and murdered them. He further added that the 3 suspects fled but left a lot of evidence in their wake.
Well, Marion County detectives quickly named 3 suspects in this case. Robert Leandrew Robinson, who was 17 years old. Christopher Dale Atkins, 12. Yes, I said 12 years old. And Taj Bruton, who was 16. Now, Robinson was arrested the morning after the murders. He was already in custody at a juvenile holding facility, and Atkins was arrested on April 6th at his own home via a search warrant, according to what we found at the sheriff's office. Now, on Saturday, April 8th, Bruton was captured just south of Groveland, Florida, and arrested on an outstanding warrants for carjacking with a firearm, aggravated assault, grand theft of a motor vehicle, fleeing or attempting to elude law enforcement officers, and tampering with an electronic monitoring device, this not being connected to the murders. So obviously this gets them to where they can move him back to where they can basically pin some of this on him.
So detectives said they used phone records like text messages and pictures on the victims' iPhones and tips from the community to link the suspected killers with the shootings. Investigators deemed that before the incident, the 3 suspects and the victims, who were all part of a burglary gang, were all inside Layla Silvernail's vehicle. Woods said the group had engaged in burglaries and robberies before the shootings. When asked how the minors obtained the weapons used in the shootings, Woods said that the 2 arrested had acquired their weapons through car burglaries. Lock your doors, people.
Yes.
The sheriff claimed that the victims were shot inside the car before they were dumped in the different areas.
Well, reports released by the Marion County Sheriff's Office revealed Robinson told the detectives that Layla made a wrong turn. While she was making a U-turn, she was allegedly shot by Bruton, and this obviously resulting in her crashing into the dumpster. And presumably this is the dumpster that she was found in. Now, according to witnesses, someone got out of the car, got into the driver's seat, and sped away. And the next day, the unidentified male victim's body was found lying in a ditch. He was reported missing, and his identity was confirmed by his father. Now, Bruton allegedly shot the male victim too, and according to the documents, Atkins told detectives he was forced to shoot Camille. He told detectives that he was threatened, and if he didn't shoot her, his family would be killed as well.
Now, Atkins was a 12-year-old, right?
Yes. So Sheriff Woods said that Atkins and Robinson both shot Camille. I think Bruton forced them to shoot them, threatening that he was going to do harm to their families. And obviously they just witnessed what he's capable of. So of course they're going to be fearful.
Right. Okay.
But again, these are not exactly exemplary kids, so it's hard to tell if they're telling the truth just yet. But I got a feeling that'll all come to fruition.
So this brings us to our earlier question. Is this some kind of weird crime cluster, or is Marion County always this crazy and dangerous?
Well, it is the Ocala.
It seems that the Marion County Sheriff's Office is riding this wave of publicity to ask for help in other unsolved murders from 2022, just last year. The first one happened on January 31st, 22. Deputies found 36-year-old Latoya Rivas and a 43-year-old man shot on Northwest 16th Avenue. The man survived, but Rivas died. The sheriff's office say they haven't gotten any tips in this case.
Well, on July 18th, deputies found 23-year-old DeQuandre Alexander shot to death on Northwest 41st Avenue in Reddick. Now, Alexander was living in Gainesville. Now, the third case happened on August 6th, and deputies found 16-year-old Kent Patterson shot and killed inside a home along West Highway 318 in Citra.
3 months later, on November 9th, deputies found the body of another 16-year-old on Patterson's grave at the campground cemetery in Reddick. He was identified as Kenneth Carr Jr.
I hate to see so many young people involved in such horrific events. I mean, we're talking people just being shot, murdered. It just,
yeah, it's crazy.
Especially the sixth base. I'm going to call them children because that's pretty much what they are. They're
They
not
are.
even of 18. You know, the sixth. I mean, you had 3 that were killed, murdered, and then 3 that are basically gone for life.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that Billy Woods said in the press conference was, he's like, the parents are heartbroken. I mean, these are their children, their kids. They had no idea, or maybe they did, but now, whether you're a family of a victim or the murderer, you're a parent that's just, your kid is just gone. They don't have a chance at life, and, it's going to be hard to come back from that. It's horrific.
So if anyone knows anything about any of these crimes that we have discussed here in this episode, please call Crime Stoppers of Marion County at 352-368-STOP. That's 352-368-7867. And we're going to put all these phone numbers and everything in the show notes. And again, if you'd like to help out our nonprofit organization, the Florida Themis Project, who is working with the family of Theresa Hartley, please go to floridathemisproject.org. You can read all about us. You can read our blog, what we're working on. You can also donate if you choose. And
maybe you can even share the link. Let's, go to the sites, share the links, put it out there. Let's get some recognition going so people are aware of it, so they can steer people towards us so we can help them if they need.
Right, exactly.
So is there going to be anything else you want to add for tonight, Lauren?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay. And
stay away from Marion County.
At least for a little while anyway, until they get all this stuff sorted out.
Again, if you'd like to support this show, please subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Palmahawk Media. That's PALMAHAWK Media.
And be sure to check out our website for all of the social media links, our Patreon. There's a merch store there. You can get yourself some cool summer gear. So just swing by the website and take a look at it.
And please make sure to subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening, and rate and review. This really helps us branch out and reach a wider audience.
And as always, thank you everyone for listening
to Paradise After Dark.
Dark, 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 dark.